Hi everyone, I wanted to come to you today to show you how to use some of your older stamps that you may have that are retired, or the ones that you've had for a while, how to look at them and try to find a different way to use it to make them go a little farther. This stamp set here is the Avant-Garden, and I'm going to show you how to turn this one blossom here into two different flowers. I'm going to use this blossom here and this little petal here, and I'm also going to use a couple of stamps from other sets. This is another set that is the apple of my eye. It's an old retired set, and I'm going to use the little cherry there and the leaf here for part of the flowers. And I'm also going to use the stem out of the Jars of Love, this one stem here, just to show you a little technique on how you can take a stamp and turn it into something, something else. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my Daffodil Delight to make this flower. We're going to make a cone flower. I've been seeing a lot of posts on Facebook through the demonstrator planning page or a few posts of people doing cone flowers out of the new Daisy Punch, which I don't have. So I went through my stamp sets to see what can I use to recreate that to where I could also make cone flowers, even though I don't have that really cute Daisy Punch. So I decided to take this blossom here and do a cone flower. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink up. I'm going to scooch in just a little bit, and I scooched out to where you can see how I'm inking this. And most of you probably already know this, but for those that don't, I'm just going to ink up on the edge there. I'm not going to ink these last two blossoms, or last two petals here. I'm just going to come right on the edge of my ink and just try to ink up just the one cluster of petals and leaving those last two ones uninked. And my ink pad is a little dry. I do need to re-ink it, so I'm having to tap it a little more than most would have to. So now I'm going to stamp it on my paper, and I'm going to stamp it to where these petals here are coming down. So I'm just going to take it and stamp it down and kind of move it slightly just to get a good impression. And I'm stamping on my piercing mat to where I do get a better impression, because of the photopolymer stamps don't have any type of foam or anything to help get a good impression. Earlier I cut out a mask, and I just stamped this image and cut out a mask off some post-it paper, and I went ahead and cut those last two little two little petals off to make my mask. And I'm just going to cover up that one little blossom there, and I'm going to take my little cherry stamp here, and I'm going to ink up some chocolate chip, and I'm going to stamp it on my ink pad. And there's some little highlight. I don't know if my thing's going to focus on it, but you can see the little lines there slightly. That's for highlight. I don't want that in my image, so I'm just going to make sure that when I stamp it, that I stamp those highlights off on my masking paper to where they don't show up. And I might end up stamping it twice just to get it nice and dark. Okay, so now we have our cone flower. Before I pull my mask off, I'm going to go ahead and ink up that flower stem that I was telling you that I got from the Jars of Love. Let me zoom back out a little bit, and I go in. I'll get it right eventually. So we have this stem from the Jars of Love, and I'm going to use the Old Olive to ink up, or to ink up the stamp for stamping. I'm going to use the Old Olive color. So I'm going to ink up my stamp, and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to stamp it onto my, try not to make a mess, stamp it onto my paper here. Okay, so we got a cute little stem, and now I'm going to take my leaf that I was telling you I got from the Apple of My Eye set, and I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to stamp it over here on the side, just like that. And then when you remove your mask, you have a lovely cone flower. Isn't that really cute? It has a watercolored or an artist brushed colored look. And to finish mine off, I went in with a little gold gel pen and outlined the petals, and then I took the espresso marker and dotted it onto the little centerpiece here and gave it a little more of a stippled look, and it made a nice little finishing touch on that flower. So that's the cone flower that I wanted to share with you. Now the next flower that I'm going to do is I'm going to take this blossom. Let me clean off my stamp here and get that yellow ink off. We're going to use the real red, and I'm probably going to do one in powder pink too, but we're going to make a poinsettia. I had noticed that this stamp had a look of a poinsettia. It wasn't like a, I don't know, it just something about it just reminded me of a poinsettia. So I thought, let me try and see if I can get a poinsettia out of that. And I have, there it is. I'm going to take my yellow, let me zoom back out when I go in. So I'm going to take my dauber and I'm going to do a little circle of yellow to kind of, this kind of gives the center of the flower a little light yellow look, like the, is it stemma in the center of a flower. So that's why I did that. Now we're going to ink up the whole stamp on this one. I'm using real red. You can also use cherry cobbler. Both colors look really nice. I've played with quite a few of them trying to figure out which color I wanted to use. And so I decided real red had more of a classic traditional Christmas color look. And I'm inking it up. And I'm going to try to center this piece here over that yellow spot that I just created. So stamp that down. Okay, so now I'm going to turn my work and I'm going to do the same thing but opposite side. I'm going to ink it up again. And then I'm going to come here, make sure my center's lined up into the center. Stamp it down, give it a little jiggle slightly. There, isn't that lovely? It makes a lovely, lovely poinsettia. But we're not done. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Emerald Envy. That's the green color that I used for my the green part of the flower. And I'm going to take my masks and lay them down here. I cut out a few of them to where I can lay down a couple at a time. So I can stamp my green leaves without having to move one mask around constantly. So I'm going to go ahead and lay my masks down because I don't want the green to go on top of my flower there. So I'm going to get my little petal or leaf here mounted, and I'm only going to ink up about half of the leaf, and then I'm just going to randomly stamp. And make sure you stamp kind of hard, because trying to go over masking paper or any kind of paper that's doubled up like that, it can leave a line, and it still might, but so just make sure you get it in there good. So just kind of turn your work as you go. And poinsettias, all the leaves, even the green leaves, look the same as the red. So I don't know if it's all leaves and just the green are turning red, or how that's all working. I think the green do turn red, kind of like the fall leaves of a tree. So I'm kind of trying to randomly place these so it doesn't look too evenly spaced. It kind of has an even space look. So I might put two here close. That'll give it more of a random look. Okay, so now I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm just going to pull up our masks. And voila! You have a very cute Christmas poinsettia. Now what I ended up doing on my center, you could do whatever you want in your center. You could do stickles or anything to give that look of the stemma. What I ended up doing is taking my gold gel pen, and I just went through and made some little dots. And to me, this flower kind of has a retro look. I'm not sure if it's just the art brush kind of texture or whatever it has, but it just has a retro, like a retro old-timey poinsettia flower. So there you have it. I just wanted to share that little bit of information, or a little bit of a kind of a technique with you guys. Is look at your stamp sets, see what you have, see if you can recreate something, or not recreate, but create something different with what you've already got. And see if, you know, not saying don't go buy anything, because, you know, we all love our supplies, but just to make sure you're getting more use out of some of your older sets. Like I said, this is a retired set. It was in the, I believe it was last year's celebration. It was one of the items you got for purchasing $50 or more of product. And as a matter of fact, this was the first time I really used it making these two things. I haven't even done it, stamped it as it is. So, and I'm just going to show you a quick, this is just a little sample. This is not a finished product. It's kind of more of an idea thrown together, and then I'm going to actually have a different way I'm going to do it. I play with my, you know, stamps and stuff like this to try to get ideas, but this is kind of this is a Christmas card that I made up with these poinsettias. It's simple. You can add as much zhuzh as you want. The Happy Christmas is embossed. I don't know if you can see that. And everything else is just been stamped and cut out. And this is that really cute holly leaf. I say holly, not holly leaf, but pine needle stamp set. I forgot what, or not stamp set, but die cut. I forgot what it's called. Thought I had it sitting right out here, easy to get to. But that's you know, what I punched or cut out on with my die cut machine. And just an oval cutout, and you know, you can go in and really make it your own. But it's a really cute little Christmas card that I come up with for the poinsettia. And another thing, I just want to kind of show you my samples. This is a little messed up, but these are the samples that I come up with when I was trying to stamp different colors to see what I liked the most. And I really loved how this one turned out, and I'm actually really liking this one too. I like the pinks and the reds together, and that was the powder pink that I used underneath that real red. And you can also do this with the cherry cobbler. And I thought I had a sample of it around here, but I must have already tossed it, so because I decided I preferred real red. So that is the little quick technique that I wanted to show you guys. Not really a technique, but a tip. I don't know what you want to call it, but wanted to share with you guys. That way you guys can, you know, maybe make some of these of your own. So if you like my videos, give me a thumbs up and subscribe for more videos in the future. Thanks.